We're Kim and Erran. Welcome to our channel. We are so happy you found us. If you are a healthcare traveler or you're interested in traveling and you want to learn more and you want to learn about the industry and get all kinds of tips and tools and support and also learn about the lifestyle and what being a traveler opens up for you, this is the channel for you. So stick around. We're excited. We got lots coming your way.
But make sure you subscribe because we are going to be releasing videos like this every week. Also, we have tons of adventure videos from when we travel around the world that are so amazing and informational as well. It's my life. It's my life.
So in today's video, we're going to talk specifically about the pros and the cons of being a traveler.
One of my favorite subjects.
It is, because there's a lot of pros, but there's also a lot of things to think about to make sure this lifestyle is for you. And so we're going to get into that in this video.
But before we get started in the training, we have a huge spoiler alert for you.
We're not nurses.
Nope.
Dun, dun, dun. Here's the thing. This is the funny thing. So we are travelers. We both work in radiology. And every time we go somewhere, people ask us what we do naturally. And we tell them. And the comments are always the same. Oh, you're like a travel nurse. And we're like, yeah, but we're not nurses. So,
right.
Hello.
And that's the really cool thing that we always like to try to bring coming from radiology, because a lot of people don't know outside of the specialty of nursing that you can travel, that you can have the same lifestyle as the travel nurse, right?
Same thing but different.
Correct.
Same thing but different. So I'm actually a sonographer, aka I do ultrasound.
And I do interventional radiology, and we do have our pug Mimi LaRue, who likes to be on camera every once in a while, so she will pop in every couple seconds or so.
She's a little bit of a ham, and she's a traveler herself and can impart lots of wisdom.
Correct.
Okay, who are we? Real quick. We're travelers. We've been traveling for the past 18 years.
18.
We're not that old.
Wow.
Okay.
I know.
Let's rewind. We've been traveling for the past 8 years. Everything we own fits in our Jeep, and we travel around the United States taking contracts at different hospitals with our pug, Mimi LaRue.
So if you're new to the channel, you're probably wondering, why are we up here teaching you about healthcare traveling? Well, that's actually a really good question, because we have a Facebook group that we started back in 2017. We were doing weekly trainings, and it was a very intimate, closed group. It's a private group just for people that were interested in traveling or are travelers. And we fell into it at the beginning where we were the normal travelers who were hearing information from our recruiters, from other travelers at different facilities. And unfortunately, in the travel world, there's a lot of wives' tales that have just been passed down, and the information is not right, it's not correct, it's gray, it's lopsided, and unfortunately, fortunately, I guess, that's why we were like, we gotta change this.
Well, we first started, we didn't know there was anything to know. And so we made tons of mistakes. We left out. Thousands of dollars. We worked with crappy recruiters because we just didn't know any better. And so once we started to learn there were things to learn, we made it our mission to learn this industry, to understand this industry, to talk to experts, to go to the SIA, which is a huge conference that's geared towards the CEOs of companies and like the big higher ups in our industry, ask questions, talk to people that know their stuff.
Yeah, so it started with our Facebook group, but that wealth of information and what we were giving out got us really excited. And we said, how much more can we learn from the correct sources? So like Kim said, that led to SIA, where all the CEOs go. We were actually speakers at that conference representing travelers. We are on the TravCon committee, which is the world's largest conference for healthcare travelers in Vegas every year. It's absolutely amazing. You definitely need to check it out. But we were on the committee last year helping bring in the Allied track. We're also speakers there and have just really surrounded ourselves with people that know the trends of the market, that know the correct information, and are really they take it personal to make sure that the right information is getting to you. So those were our sources. Those are who taught us. And now we want to bring that to you.
And we've made it our mission. In our Facebook group, we also have an online course for healthcare travelers.
Yeah, I forgot that. Jeez.
And we've made it our mission to learn and understand the industry and share accurate information to give new travelers who were like us 8 years ago, who had no idea what they were getting into, didn't know there was anything to know, to give them all the tools, all the support, all the knowledge, everything there is to know, to set themselves up for success from the beginning so that you don't have to make all the mistakes we did. Absolutely. So that's who we are. That's why we're here. Let's get into it. All right, so we want to start with cons because we are huge believers in traveling.
Yeah.
We are huge fans. I can't think of the word. We're huge fans of traveling.
Is it proponents of travel?
I don't know. Yeah. I'm going to stick with fans.
Okay.
And we try to recruit everybody we know into the traveling world because it is amazing, but it's not for everybody.
Correct.
There's definitely a certain lifestyle that comes with it. There's things to think about. There's things to prepare. And so we wanted to share the cons first so you can get an idea if this life is really for you or not. And then we'll hit the pros, our favorite part.
And plus, if you guys come back for our trainings, you'll realize that we have a very positive outlook on things. So start with the cons, we'll end with the pros.
Yeah. And on a high note.
Yeah.
Okay, number one. This is going to sound like a no-brainer, but you're going to be moving around all the time.
No.
You're going to be traveling. So as travelers, we typically move around every 3 months. And you're moving around to a new location. And while that's also a pro because that's really fun and you get the road trips and the new locations and all the things, you're physically packing up your stuff and moving to a new location. And that costs money to get from place to place to place, right? So you have to pay for your hotels, you have to pay for your gas, you have to pay for your new apartment that you're going to be moving into. You have to pay, there's a lot of things that come in between going from place to place to place.
Well, right, and I want to add in there real quick too, is a lot of people will say, well, they pay for your travel, right? No, they don't. There is travel reimbursement. Again, we want to respect your time and not have this be like a 2-hour-long training, but the travel reimbursement comes on your first paycheck. So that means you have to get to this place with your own dime, and then you get travel reimbursement.
So you are responsible from getting yourself from place to place to place to place. And so that, while it's exciting, it can also be a lot when you're packing up and moving, sometimes across the country, back and forth, every couple of months. So that's con number one.
So con number two is what we call traveler burnout, but I'll actually go a little bit more specific. It's more or less decision burnout with what we've come up with. Because yes, like Kim said, you are physically moving and actually getting to a location. And if you're somebody like we are, we like our routine. We like knowing where a gym is. We like knowing where a grocery store is. We like knowing our commute. And when you're doing that every 3 months, along with packing up, however you travel, if it's a budget van or if it's a car or flying or packing, that gets tiring. But the thing about traveling is you have to make decisions extremely quickly. You have to learn to trust your gut, and you have to, again, make tons of decisions on where you're going to live, what contract.
No, I was gonna list them. Like the types of decisions we have to make is doing interviews, what jobs sound good, actually doing the interview, which will be a whole nother video that we'll do, getting the job, finding a place to live, what route are you going to take, what are you bringing with you?
How close are you going to live?
Yeah, there's so many moving parts, and it can really burn you out, and we've been traveling for 8 years, and we've had a couple of times.
We've had 3 major burnouts.
Where we've had some major burnouts, which we'll do a whole nother video
and that's what I was just going to say very briefly was that's why we realized that it was decision burnout, because we still love to travel. We still love going new places. But when we actually took time away to really look at that, we realized it was just about making decisions. I didn't want to figure out where we had to live and where our gym was going to be and our new location and figuring out all that stuff. That's what was really tiring for us.
So con number 2, you're going to have a lot of decisions to make, and most of the time, especially when it comes to your job, you're going to have to make them very quickly.
Quick asterisk, that's also such a pro too, because it honestly builds a muscle that decision making, it becomes a skill.
Yeah, we're way better.
We're way better at it. And even when we have crazy situations, we've gotten so good at it that it's like making decisions is like, boom, let's go. Trust your gut and go. So anyway.
Perfect. All right.
So number 3, and this is kind of a loaded subject, but I definitely want to throw this in there because we see this in our group all the time. And if you are not well educated in this industry of traveling healthcare, because a lot of people just think, oh, I'm a nurse, or I'm an IR tech, or I'm a sonographer, yeah, I can travel anywhere. It's totally different. And that's why we really want to do these videos, because one of the cons is if you don't feel well informed enough and learn the industry, you're going to always feel like you're being taken. Like the recruiters are out to get you, the facility's out to get you, and honestly, that sucks. And it takes away from the experience of traveling if you're always worried and, oh my God, this sucks, and what are they going to do? And I could have got more money, or could I have? I don't even know. I don't even know what to ask. And that is super tiring. So that's a tip as well. You're in the right spot.
I think, again, from us in the beginning, why we started this whole thing where we wanted to teach travelers is because we did make so many mistakes. And there's no reason to have to do that anymore, and realizing that traveling is very different. The way we get paid is different. The way that we work with recruiters and find jobs, our taxes, like there's so many things that are different. And so you really want to take the time to learn the things in the beginning, because then you're setting yourself up for success, and you won't have to always be banging your head against the wall wondering if you're getting taken or making a lot of money or the most money and all of those things.
And I can tell you, not only did my experience change of just traveling, but actually going into these facilities, I came in more joyful. I came in more excited to work, because I knew I was getting what I deserved and what was fair. And everybody on both ends, your recruiters, your ride or die, they are your person. They feel like they're getting a good deal out of it. Everybody is taken care of. And that is a great feeling to learn.
Number 4 is that the travel life is very unpredictable. And so there's a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges, a lot of different things that can come up. It's not just a straight line, right? It's not like you're working a 9 to 5 and you have the same route every day and you clock in and you know the same people and then you leave and you go home. Like there's a lot of variables that can come up. And so you really, want to be able to be flexible and to be able to roll with the punches when things might not work out the way that you thought that they would. I'll say for myself, being a traveler for the last 8 years, I've really learned to be more go with the flow, because that's not in my nature. But traveling forces you to be more go with the flow, because you're like, okay, this didn't work out. What's the other option? What are my choices here? So you can have your contract canceled. Thank God in 8 years that has never happened to us, but it can happen where you go to start at a new job and they cancel you, and you've gotten housing. Now you don't know where you're going to work. You don't have a paycheck coming in. So those are things that you need to think about. You need to be prepared. You need to have some money aside that if this happens, you're able to get to your next assignment, right? So that's something that can come up. You can have a housing situation, which we have had a couple of times, where you find housing and then you get there and it's absolutely the opposite of what you thought it was going to be. So now you're like back channeling, trying to find a new place to live. And we don't say any of this to scare you, but I think it's just the reality. And again, we've been doing this for 8 years. There's been a handful of times that things have come up that we've had to like really change course. But just knowing that ahead of time, being the most prepared that you can possibly when it comes to your mindset and also financially, you're gonna set yourself up for success and be able to kind of weave in between these obstacles that come up and be able to kind of reroute and redirect and not have it be a total meltdown. And
the only 2 things I'll add really quickly is cancellations don't happen all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of times they come more from the traveler than they do the facility. But they are a possibility. And secondly, Kim and I did not leave for traveling with a lot of money. We left in a lot of debt.
Yeah,
so we are telling you this 8 years from the future, right?
It's what we wish we would have done.
Correct. We would have done it, but we are sitting here in front of you teaching, living our best life, traveling all the time, just loving every minute of this. And we came from a lot of debt without any savings. So it's possible.
100%. Number 5, and this is kind of just piggybacking off what we already said, but remember, as a traveler, when you aren't working, you do not get paid. So when you're in between contracts, so say you have a 2-week hiatus and you're driving from, New York out to California, and you have 2 weeks before you even start your first job, remember that you don't get your first paycheck for 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks if it's a bi-weekly pay period, right? Mm-hmm. So that's something to really think about. You need to be prepared that you have to have your monthly bills covered, you have to have your drive covered, your transitional time, because you're not going to have the money up front, and it might be a little bit before you get your first paycheck. So that's something to definitely think about. And again, we had to borrow money from people because we weren't set up. So, like, don't be like us.
No.
Take what we're teaching, and if you can save some money and put some money aside, you're going to be...
And we're definitely going to get into time off in the pros because it is a pro, but if you do take an extended amount of time off, insurance might be a big thing for you because you are covered while you're working. But if you extend past a 24-day mark... Depending on the company, then your coverage ends from the day you ended. So you have to take that into consideration, maybe getting your own plan or COBRA or just keep re-signing. Number 6, this is a big one, and it's actually not talked about quite as often. Kim and I have been just crushing this subject because we really think it needs to be talked about. And it's a skill that travelers have, but it's also a con of traveling. And that is you are always the new kid. That feeling of walking into work on your first day, not knowing who you're working with, the department. You can do a really good job of interviewing, which we will teach you in some of these videos. But still, there's that uncertainty of the individuals you're working with, how they do things, different processes, different exams, especially in radiology. How do the doctors work? It's like I've done 200 ports, but it's my first one with them. And so it's almost like learning and relearning. Even though I have 13 years of experience at some of the biggest hospitals in the nation, I am at the top echelon of my job. But every time I walk into a new place, that doesn't matter. I'm the new kid. And that can be tough on your ego. It can be tough on your emotions. Yeah. And it's, again, like I said, it's not talked about enough.
And honestly, just that feeling, like we all know how we feel on our first day of doing anything. Like there's nerves there and there's uncertainties and you don't know what you're walking into. And so you have to do that every couple of months. It's like you get in there, you're nervous, you start to learn the things and you find your flow, over the first week or two, hopefully. And then by the time you like get in there and find your groove and become a part of the team, it's time to go again. It's time to leave and go to the next place and then start all over again as the new kid. And it's definitely something that you get better at. I will say, like, you become more confident because it becomes your new normal. But I still get nervous on my first
100%. We are on our, 16th and 17th contracts, maybe even more, and I still get nervous.
And it's a lot of information you're taking in. Just like what Erran said, like, that first week, it's like your brain is just, like, firing because you're just learning so much and you're taking so much on and you're also proving yourself, right? Because they don't know you, so you want to show up and you want to be a good traveler and you want to be confident and you want to be smart and you want to get in there and you want to be helpful. So you're kind of working extra to like get in there and prove yourself, and they're trying to figure you out and you're trying to learn, and it's a whole thing. So it's a lot to take in every couple of months.
And that's what I was going to say is if you guys are familiar with like Epic and Cerner Millennium.
Yeah,
they're the same program, but they're run differently from different hospitals. They all still do things differently. The way you scan, the way you do things, the way you chart, all different, right? Yeah. So you know the system, but you're still having to learn a new way than what you were just doing like 2 weeks ago, and you're like, geez, like this is crazy, and it can be taxing, but over time, like I said, after a week, you realize, what was I so upset about? Like, this is simple.
And then you're part of the team, and then you're on to the next.
Yeah.
All right, this is the last con that we're going to cover on this video. We're going to keep it super short, but here's the thing. If you are planning on traveling, and you're planning on traveling solo, which a lot of people do, and I encourage people to do it, and there's a lot of pros to that, but just to kind of cover the con, is that you can get lonely. You're away from your family, you're away from your friends, you've just left your normal, routine, your life, your bubble, your comfort zone. You're out on the road, you're in a new city, and you gotta figure things out on your own. And there might be times that you miss home, or you wish you had a friend to go on a hike with, or go out to dinner with, or whatever. And that's just part of it. Luckily, we have met so many incredible people everywhere we've gone, and you will meet people, like you will meet friends, but there can be that the moments of kind of being like, wow, like I'm in this alone and I miss my home.
Absolutely. And again, Kim and I reluctantly talk about this because we travel as a duo, so I know what you're thinking, like easy for you guys to say you travel together. Yes, but we do have a group of way over 5,000 people. Most of them are solo.
In our Travel Life, Freedom and Scrubs. That's
nice plug there. But we also have a bunch of friends that we talk to that are solo travelers, and they have couches all over the world. They have friends all over the world. One friend in particular is just like, I'm going to North Carolina. I'm like, why? She was like, I have some travel friends there that I met on an assignment, and I'm going back to do a campfire camping trip with them. And it's like, Damn, that's crazy because Kim and I can get in our bubble a lot and not put ourselves out there. And that's where solo travelers have the advantage.
I was going to say, I almost feel like it's easier for solo travelers to connect and meet friends because we always have each other. Sometimes we're like, no, we're going to do this instead, or we got to do this. Whereas a solo traveler, like, yeah, of course I want to go. You're going to put yourself out there more because you want to meet people, and you will meet people. But just know that that is something that does come up, and so it's something to think about. And we will leave the cons at that for now.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about the pros.
My favorite part.
Because we could talk about all the good stuff about traveling all day. Hence, while we've been traveling for 8 years and we have no plan on ever stopping because it's amazing. Okay, pro number 1.
Full times for the birds.
It really is. Losers.
No, stop.
Pro number 1. The money!
Yay! Everybody loves money.
Everybody loves money. Here's the thing. We're going to keep this short. We're going to do a video specifically on money because how we get paid and all of the things that come with money, making money as a traveler, is we can dive into that. So we're going to save that for another video. But just as like a very surface level pro, you can make more money as a traveler. We have made double to triple what we used to make being full-time employees as travelers.
Well, as a side note, again, with the doubling and tripling the income, we came from Florida, where it's generally a low-paying healthcare state.
Yes.
So that's, again, why we're going to dive in really deep to money. But yes, Kim and I have doubled and or tripled our income working a base rate as travelers coming from Florida.
Totes. Okay, number 2. This is my favorite.
And mine too.
Our favorite.
Our favorite.
As a traveler, you get to take a lot of time off. You get to decide when you want to work and when you want to take off. Granted, like we said in the cons, when you don't work, you don't get paid. But on the flip side of that, you don't have to get PTO approved. Nobody's going to tell you no. Like if you want to take a month off, you can go. If you want to take a year off like we're about to do, you can. As long as you got the money and you're ready, you get so much freedom to take time off. And that is priceless.
Absolutely.
Priceless.
You are actually a self-employed healthcare professional. You work with a recruiter, but you get to decide as long as you're in communication with those recruiters. It has never affected Kim and I going back to work after taking an extended amount of time off. All facilities want to know is, do you have the skills to do the job that we need? Yes or no. And if you want to put yourself in that position, that's a choice, but we have never been affected by that. A facility has never not hired us because we've taken 6 months off to go travel the world. Hence, check out all the videos in the adventure videos around here. That's all of our travels outside of when we're not working in the hospital.
And if you're like us, and because here's the cool thing, it's like if you want to just work and pay off debts or pay off mortgages or whatever, we've done that too. You can work back to back contracts and just get into the grind and hustle and make a crap ton of money. Or if you're like us, where we are now 8 years in, we like to take a lot of time off because we like to travel and adventure and have these experiences. And so traveling really allows you to pick and choose where you're at and how you want to work for the year. And you get to plan your life around that instead of your job planning your life around that.
Yeah. Or only getting 2 weeks off of PTO. Like,
ain't nobody got time for that.
A year? That's crazy. And then seniority and all that kind of stuff.
I can't even imagine.
We don't have to deal with that at all. We work our 3-month contracts, and then, like I said, this is coronavirus time that Kim and I are filming this, but we were planning on going for a year-long trip around the world, at least. And everybody was like, deuces, we're so excited. We can't wait to follow you guys. It's going to be amazing. There was not like, what are you going to do for work?
And we're going down a big tangent here, but we were leaving for an entire year. We said our goodbyes, we told our recruiters bye-bye, and we went to New Zealand, came back last week. Crap, I keep saying crap, I need a new word. Stuff hit the fan, and we had to postpone our entire trip. And so we don't know when we're going to start our year of travel, but as a traveler, Erran was able to pick up at his old hospital and work 8 weeks while we're here. We're going to make some money, we'll stay put, and then go from there. So it's like we had that freedom to be like, bye, and then we're like, actually, we need to take a contract.
Rewind.
And we couldn't. It's all good.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Number 3. This was kind of what Kim said about moving around all the time, and we talked about that being a pro, but also kind of a con. You get to live in new places around the U.S. that you never thought you would live. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to say, that sounds kind of self-explanatory, but literally, some of our best contracts that we've ever had were in places that we never thought we would go. Janesville, Wisconsin, in the middle of winter, mm-hmm. was literally one of our favorite places. And we were like, oh, really? Like, we don't really want to go there. We went there. The people were amazing. The job was amazing. Yeah. It was an amazing experience. So you get to not breeze in and do vacation style. You get to live and immerse yourself in the culture and meet new people and try new foods. And if you're open to that kind of stuff, which you really should be if you're going to be a traveler, it's just been the coolest thing about traveling.
It's like, we're from Florida, and we do vision boards, and we would have all the places we wanted to go. And we used to have San Francisco, the California coast, like Pacific Northwest, like all these places.
Seattle.
Yeah, all these places we wanted to go. And we were saving our money, like hopefully one day we'd be able to go and spend, a week or 2 weeks? Like you can't get it all in that amount of time, mm-hmm. right? And as travelers, we've been able to live in these places for mm-hmm. 3 months, sometimes longer, really diving in and exploring as much as there is about each place that we go to. And so over the 8 years, we've lived in San Francisco, Seattle, on the Pacific Coast Highway. San Diego. Mm-hmm. We could go on. We've lived in the coolest places, and that by far to me makes this experience so much more rich, because we've lived all over the country, and if we ever, God forbid, do want to settle down, we'll get a good taste of where we might want to spend the next 10 years. And
that's also cool what we were saying about the solo travelers is Kim and I have made such good friends in these areas that we literally can be like, yo, we're back in San Diego, can we come stay with you guys? And everybody's like, oh my God, you're back, no way. Like, yes, absolutely, because it's just that type of time that you would spend there, getting to know people, getting to know the area, and it's just a really beautiful thing about traveling.
It's amazing.
It is. Number 4, and this is something that I have become really super passionate about, and it's something that I figured out in hindsight after traveling 8 years. You get a fresh start every 13 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds kind of crazy because it's like, oh, well, I get to be a new person. No, but you get to shed old skin. You get to literally, like Kim says, do you want to talk about, because you say it really well, about if you were the girl in school that nobody likes, or...
Yeah, I think it's
not
cool.
Nobody likes. But...
Oh my God, babe. Jeez. God, savage. No, I think it's cool because you get to explore different parts of yourself. Remember that nobody knows you. Nobody knows anything about you when you're walking into a new place. So you get to be whoever you want to be. So you can play with different sides of yourself. You can put yourself out there and explore things that maybe you wouldn't do if you were in your hometown where everybody does know you and everybody knows everything about you. And if you try something new, they might be like, oh, why is so-and-so, she doesn't do that.
She's into fitness and eating healthy now? Yeah. She was the...
And hopefully you don't have friends like that, but... Right. And just saying, you get to really put yourself out there and get out of your comfort zone and see, what do you actually like? And by meeting new people, they also introduce you to things that maybe you would never have tried before. And so I feel like it just pushes you into just uncovering different parts of yourself and becoming a better version of yourself.
But it also helps for the self-growth. And that's something that I've actually experienced, because your problems do chase you around the universe, around the country.
Around the universe.
Pretty much, until you actually uncover those. And so I was dealing with some things interpersonally, and it really allowed me to try new things and to be like, you know what, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to smile more, and I'm going to be more friendly, and I'm going to actually really try to, be somebody that everybody wants to work with, which I know that sounds crazy because that's what you should always do, but literally, you were able to shape and mold and grow, and I have become a better person now than I was when I left Florida, personally, professionally, and it's because of the time that you get to have that fresh start to really have that self-growth time.
Well, and if you are somebody who has a growth mindset, which we do, and we are huge fans of that, we teach about that, it's very important to us because that will shape your experience as a traveler, your mindset, your attitude, your energy going into all of this. Each contract is going to teach you something different. You're going to have lessons. You're going to have takeaways. And the cool thing is you get to take what you want, leave what you don't, start over every couple of months, and slowly grow into the person you really are.
Yeah. Wow, that's good.
Okay.
So the last pro, I don't even know what number it is by this point. It could be 6, 7, 8, but it doesn't matter because it is our favorite. Again, we did kind of talk about this with the time off, but it also leads to, it just kind of encompasses everything. And that is the freedom that you have as a healthcare traveler. You get to design the life the way that you want to design it. It is literally the reset button to your life. And that is what we have done. That's why we have Travel Life Freedom in Scrubs. We have a Freedom in Scrubs podcast. Everything is freedom in Scrubs because this life has given us the freedom beyond our wildest dreams.
It is. It's like we, without going into a whole thing, it really does give you that opportunity to restart. Like we came from this big house with no extra money, tons of debt, tons of no savings, just like living in this grind of like not knowing what we wanted, but not being happy or satisfied or fulfilled with the life we were living, to kind of shedding all of that and stepping into this life and starting to live more simply, live more minimally, have more time off to explore passions and different hobbies and travel and go here and go there. And it was like, I don't know, it just opened up this whole nother way of living in so many ways that I never thought was possible.
Yeah, we literally came from overdrafting our account right after we got paid on a pizza. We were that broke. It wasn't like we got money to cover it. Like we thought, man, we have these great jobs. Why are we overdrafting our account on pizza? To now literally working 1 or 2 contracts, debt-free, being able to take a year off to travel the world. We started a fitness business, which then led to our Facebook group and our online course Traveler School for healthcare travelers. Now doing adventure videos on YouTube, leading adventure trips, doing these trainings. That all came about because of traveling and what the freedom this life gives you.
100%. So we are going to be talking way more about all of the things. If you made it to the end,
thank you.
We hope that you enjoyed this, that you took something away from it, that you were either like, hell yeah, this is for me, or you're like, maybe I'll wait a little bit, I'm not really sure yet. Either way, we are here to support you every step of the way. Let us know in the comments below, what did you take away from this, or what videos would you like us to do? What would you like to learn more about? Check us out in our Facebook group, Travel Life Freedom in Scrubs. We'll put all the links below.
We will. We have a podcast, like I said, Freedom in Scrubs on iTunes, Spotify, everywhere podcasts are listened to. We have our YouTube channel, which you are here. So make sure you subscribe because we will be releasing videos like this. And this was the first one that we did in this style.
In this way, yeah.
So we wanted to introduce ourselves. It will be a lot longer. Kim and I are long-winded. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Don't
shorter.
Scare them away.
It'll be shorter. We are long-winded. We like to tell stories. That's the way we teach.
Yeah.
So we hope you guys enjoyed this. We hope you took something away from it. And
let us know if you have any questions.
Yes.
Again, ask questions below. This is what we're here for. Find us in our group. Find us on the podcast. Check out our course, Traveler School. It's a step-by-step guide. Do all of the things. We are here for you, and we will see you next week.
If you do one thing, just subscribe.
My God. And give it a thumbs up.
And hammer that like button.
Oh my God.
All right, guys. Next week, we'll see you.
Bye.